Well, good evening, everyone. It is so good to see you. My name is JP Clancy. I'm the Senior Vice President for Clinical Research for the CF Foundation, and I apologize for not being able to be there this Wednesday. I was there last Wednesday. I was actually in St. Louis for Rare Disease Day and participated in a lovely symposium, and I think we got to 5 degrees, if I remember correctly, but unfortunately, I know that you needed to cancel and reschedule, and so unfortunately, it couldn't be there in person, but I'm so glad I could be there at least virtually. So it is really an honor to be talking with this group. And before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing for people with CF, for the CF community, to help bring changes to care and eventually and ultimately lead to transforming lives. So thank you. The CF Foundation mission remains steadfast. We're here to cure cystic fibrosis, and we're here to provide all people with CF with the opportunities to live long, fulfilling lives. And the way we seek to accomplish that is through funding research and drug development, by partnering with the CF community and advancing high quality specialized care. And all of these are equally important in pursuit of our mission. And the other point is we can't achieve our mission without the partnership from you. I think we all know that CF is a disease that can affect the whole body. It begins with a problem with a gene called CFTR, and that gene, when it doesn't work correctly, codes for a protein that doesn't work correctly. And that protein, when it's not working, gets in the way of salt and water moving across the surfaces of a lot of different tissues. And those examples of those tissues are shown here. And the point I wanted to make is CF is not just a lung disease. It's not just a GI disease. It's a total body disease. Different people with CF have sort of different levels of problems depending on the part of their body most impacted. But I think we've come to appreciate that it is much more than just lung and digestive disease. And we know that CF without treatment is lethal in the first year of life. So while we are extremely proud of the success that we've had, we also acknowledge that this disease remains a critically risky diagnosis to carry for any family. As we look over time, what we've found over the last 30 years is that CF has changed dramatically. This is a slide just looking at the breakdown of people with CF based on being adults or children. And you can see that over the last 30 years, we've almost flipped the script. It's become predominantly an adult disease. In fact, with that has really come new exciting opportunities and challenges, which we'll be talking about in just a little bit. This is a slide that really is looking at the relationship between improved growth, or BMI, on the x-axis and improved lung function on the y-axis. And what we see is that, and the size of each bubble is basically the size of the CF population in each of these different groupings. And what we find is that over time we have seen significant improving lung function and BMI that correlate very well up until we get into the 24 to 26 range. Where is that range? Well, that is that range where we start to move from being target weight to starting to be overweight. And as we go over to the right, we start to be moving into overweight and obesity. And the point is, what we've known for a long time is that there is definitely a clear relationship between improved weight and improved lung function. But I think that it's safe to say there probably is a point where that curve tips, and I think we can see that here, that additional weight is not necessarily translating into additional improvement in lung function. If we look over time at the impact of improved therapies for people with CF, what we've seen is that for those with advanced lung disease, there has been a dramatic reduction in the need for lung transplant, and that really happened between 2019 and 2020. And what we feel that the most significant contributor to that is the approval of Trikafta. And indeed, we've seen that lung transplants in people with CF have remained pretty low and significantly lower than where they've been prior to the advent of these therapies. And I also wanted to highlight that this is looking at median predicted survival by age for people with CF all the way back to 1989 when I got into CF up till today. And what you can see is there is this significant steady improvement that we've seen over time through a number of efforts, such as the development of symptomatic therapies, standardization of care, being able to provide multidisciplinary care. But you see this real acceleration that is happening on the right side. And what that really, we believe, represents is the availability and uptake of CFTR modulators for more and more people with CF. However, CFTR modulators, as wonderful, as fabulous, as transformative as they can be, they're not a cure. And not everyone with CF is able to benefit from CFTR modulators, and that can be because the genetics they have just aren't responsive to these types of drugs, or they may not be able to tolerate them because of side effects or other sort of intolerance problems. And we are here to make sure that everybody with CF can receive their transformative and curative therapies. And we acknowledge, there is a significant proportion of people with CF who currently are not seeing these benefits. And that is why we are completely engaged and extremely excited about the research capabilities and questions that are right before us. So how will we get to a cure for all people with CF? Well, it'll happen in a number of steps, and it includes a number of different partnerships. Starting on the left side, discovery research, which really is happening in the laboratories to help us start to fundamentally address the questions that ultimately become new therapies. The CFF lab, this is a laboratory of approximately 50 folks who work up in Massachusetts, who work in a very collaborative way to help engage with industry sponsors and then help to advance their own preclinical research programs. Translational research is really when we take research from within the laboratory and start to translate it into studies in people with CF. How can we develop those endpoints and translational capabilities to bring those best ideas to people with CF? And on the right side, we're really talking about a number of these sort of execution parts of the program. How the therapeutic development, or TDN, this is really our network of 80 CF clinical research centers, which have the capabilities to bring new therapies and test them in a safe, rigorous way across their network and help us advance therapies that are going to be most beneficial to people with CF. And probably the most important part of this whole equation is the CF community. The CF community is there along the way to help us identify the priorities, partner with us in the development of research protocols, and participate in those research protocols, which are ultimately going to bring curative therapies to all people with CF. And the approaches that we are taking are not just for curative therapies. We remain actively advancing therapies that treat a number of manifestations of CF, including anti-infectives, nutritional therapies, new and better enzymes, new therapies to help thin CF mucus, improvements in CFTR modulators. But many of the topics that we're thinking about in the near and in the curative arena are really around those bottom topics: translational research, CFTR restoration, development of delivery vehicles that are able to take that genetic material into the right cells so that they can do their job, and really advancing gene editing capabilities, being able to use molecular scissors to fix CF-causing mutations and lead to curative therapies. So what's the newest and most recent advancement in CF? Well, that would be the approval of Alyftrek. Alyftrek is a once daily, highly effective CFTR modulator that was approved by the FDA in late 2024, December 20th to be exact. And it was based on the results from two large studies. They were called Skyline, and some of the details of those studies are shown here. The top one is for people who had one copy of F508, the most common cause of CF. And the second mutation was non-functional. And down below is people who had one copy of F508 and a second CF-causing mutation, which was responsive to Trikafta. And what they did in this study was a head-to-head comparison between Alyftrek and Trikafta for those who were tolerating Trikafta. And what we see is that over time, the top is from the study population on the top left, and then the bottom is from the bottom left. But what we're looking at is lung function and sweat chloride. and lung function is measured by FEV1 between the two groups. And the point is, they're exactly the same. We saw very similar pulmonary effects of these drugs when compared side by side, and saw very similar impact on symptoms and risk of pulmonary exacerbations. There was some reduction in sweat chloride in the population treated with the left track, that's shown on the right side with the blue, with an on average reduction of about 8 points. And in fact, when you look at the two studies, over the 85% of people who were treated with a Liftrec had a sweat chloride below 60 millimolar, which is basically below the diagnostic threshold for CF. So we're very excited about this drug, but acknowledge that the clinical differences between Trikafta may be subtle. We believe that that reduction in sweat chloride is another important step towards normalizing the function of CFTR, and we will be continuing to develop modulators to try to build upon this success. I wanted to highlight the current CF therapeutic pipeline and just acknowledge that it's a very busy space. And it's really become very busy with the advent of nucleic acid-based therapies, which are shown on the left side. These are therapies under development that by and large are for anybody with CF, including those who are not able to take CFTR modulators. And when we look more carefully at the modulator versus the treated versus untreated populations, what we have here on the left is a bar graph of folks treated with CFTR modulators, which is the majority, 80 to 90% of people with CF in the US. And on the right side is a kind of a blow up of the different CF causing mutations for people not able to take modulators because of their genetics. And the point is they're very different. There's not a one size fit all approach based on developing a pill such as a modulator. However, what we are doing is advancing a number of different genetic-based therapies, and these are highlighted here. There are three programs that are utilizing mRNA to deliver CFTR to the lungs. There are approaches that are for small numbers of patients with CF called splice mutations. There's gene addition approaches, which are shown in the sort of the bottom corner, and at the very bottom is an approach that is a small molecule that we think might be beneficial to all people with CF. Point is, we have a large number of studies currently ongoing that we really are extremely excited about. At least, hopefully, 1, 2, 3 of these will show us the evidence to take them into the next phase and larger pivotal trials. Hand in hand with advancing new therapies with CF is ensuring that all people with CF have access to gold standard CF care. And we are completely dedicated to addressing the serious health conditions that it can result as a result of CF's impact on the body, including the lungs, the liver, GI system, pancreas, and also most recently acknowledging the challenges, mental health challenges that come with CF. And we're trying to do this through a number of different initiatives that we think are really going to be impactful for the CF community. We've come to realize with the advent of CFTR modulators that the way that we approach CF care needs to change. And that includes changing from the current state, shown on the left side, to what we see as the future state, which includes a more dynamic, tailored visit frequency for people with CF, the option of telehealth as a way to connect with the care teams without necessarily requiring in-person visits, use of home monitoring devices such as home cultures and home spirometry, and also sort of rethinking and readjusting what it means, what the CF care team needs to look like, having a core team and essential partners who are trained and trusted and really can provide the healthcare needs to a growing and aging, actually, CF population. We're also in the midst of updating and replatforming the CFF patient registry, one of the crown jewels of the CF Foundation. And we're currently in phase 1, which is really seeking to ensure that we make this migration in a seamless way and start to unify the way that data is entered and pilot the use of electronic medical record integrations and maintaining sort of our business as usual, but on a new platform, and then setting us up for moving into 2026 and beyond, expanding the data sources, increasing engagement, and really being able to develop the capabilities to do research and quality improvement. And that process will include new consenting and keep your eye out for this work as we see this coming in the next couple of years. And We are absolutely 100% committed to our CF community, that all people with CF have the access to the care that they need. And we have a number of active programs that are really seeking to ensure that all people with CF, regardless of background, race, ethnicity, are able to receive the diagnosis and care they need. And there are a number of important initiatives underway. One is focused on improving newborn screening guidelines so that they're more inclusive of mutations found in people of Black and Hispanic backgrounds. Two, we are investing in research to really characterize those rare CF-causing mutations to ensure that all people with CF, even those from small populations not able to participate in clinical trials, have access to these drugs and their amazing benefits. And finally, ensuring that the clinical trials that we conduct are including people representative of the disease, and that includes people from a number of different backgrounds to ensure that the drugs that we develop really are effective in the way that we envision. So just to finish and complete today's short presentation is just, I hope you can see that there are lots and lots of exciting things happening. We have 7 programs that have the potential for transformative benefits for people with CF currently in clinical trials. And those that advance, we really are excited about, can be our next important step towards our mission. We see a future with next generation modulators, which continue to build upon what success we've seen before. In terms of care, we've provided 2 guidance documents that are really helping us to re-envision what the CF health care delivery looks like. And while we didn't have time, there is a great deal of care research ongoing to deal with a number of the manifestations of CF that really affect people with CF from day to day. And finally, we take every step of the way with the CF community. And this includes connecting across events nationwide, advocating for access, and ensuring that we're developing programs that are what the community needs and really support them in their journeys. So finally, I just want to, using the same words I said when I started, I want to say thank you. I greatly appreciate all that you do. I wish I could be there, but I am so thrilled to have had the chance to share with the exciting updates that we have. And on that note, I will pass it back to the organizers. So thank you.